Alright guys, this is Paul, the Analog Archivist, here to bring you a VHS review, and today we are talking about a very well sought after slasher film, not yet released on DVD or Blu-ray, at least that I'm aware of. It is Blood Frenzy, released by Hollywood Family Entertainment. I don't think you'd be bringing this home to your family, in most circumstances anyway. Here's the cover, as you can see here. It's awesome, right? Got all this blood, this Jack in the Box. You got these great embossed letters that just shine right at you. They're like foil right on the cover. They went through quite a expense, I'm sure, to create this glorious box. It's just so vivid. It's a book box, a gatefold box. It opens up. As you can see here, this one I'm holding is unfortunately cut. I actually don't have any cut boxes in my collection, but I'm selling this for a friend, and I thought, you know what, this is a very well sought after slasher film. Let me give it a look, and maybe I'll review it. I would love to show you guys the full uncut big box because the gatefold is really sweet. If you open it up, it has all these great stills of all the gore scenes in the movie. Just glorious, like I said. And I think it's part of the appeal of having this release. Now, the cut box goes for money as well. This thing, I think I sold it for like 60 or 70 bucks. It's just absurd that a cut box would sell that much, but you know, it goes to show that people actually do like this movie. Now let's look at the back here. In the back, it's really interesting. You see something that's totally unusual with most video boxes or sleeves. You got those great photos there, those stills from the movie. All the characters, the main characters in the movie, which aren't many, and it has a small little description of the character with the character name. This was actually helpful in watching the movie. In case you forget who's who, you could always turn to the back of the case here. It's just, I wish more movies did that. It reminds me of kind of like a playbill, like when you go to a Broadway show or something. It was just very useful. But let's look at the synopsis here. 7 people walk into a private hell, and one of them is already dead, with a throat slit from ear to ear. Can you guess who is doing it? Blood Frenzy is a masterpiece of spine-tingling horror and mind-bending suspense. The sheer bloody horror is matched only by the strange, twisted story of 7 desperate people trapped in a personal hell, where death is the easy way out. So, that sounds like a typical slasher explanation. That could describe a lot of movies, right? So, it starts off basic slasher 101. It has a scene that happened way in the past, and like many slashers, it's with a young kid. Young girl is playing with a Jack in the Box. Drunk father comes in saying, "Where the hell did you get that Jack in the Box? We don't have any money. Did you steal it?" Slaps her in the face. She finds some kind of gardening tool, I don't remember what it was, a shovel or something, and slices her father's throat with it. This little girl. I thought that was hilarious. That's where the movie starts. Lots of movies start this way. Halloween starts this way. Prom Night starts this way. You know, tons of movies like this. And from there, we're fast forward into the future, where we're introduced to a group of people with problems. It's a therapy group, which is led by a psychologist. Altogether, with the psychologist, there's 7 of them, but 6 of the people are there because they have a problem that they're trying to fix. It's the weirdest group of people to ever put together because most of these people are like opposites of each other, so I don't think any smart psychologist would put these people together because, for instance, one girl is a sex freak. She loves being touched. One of the guys in the group is a womanizer, and he wants to, you know, sleep with all the women. So putting those 2 people in the group might be a problem. One of the guys wants to deal with his alcohol issue. But it's funny because he always has a can of beer with him, even when he's out in the desert with these people. It's like, did you guys really bring beer on this trip? You got an alcoholic that's trying to work on this problem that he has, and you guys are bringing all this beer. Where else is he getting it from? It's just absurd. So as you can imagine, all these people just conflict with each other. So I believe we are first introduced to them while they're driving in an RV. They stop at a diner, and this is when some of the character development comes out, and we realize that all these people really just hate each other. And so the whole plan is to get all these, according to psychologists, to get this group of misfits together into an isolated area out in the middle of the desert so they could, I guess, bond or something. Just seems like a terrible idea. If anything goes wrong, they're out in the middle of the desert. This is a psychologist. I don't think any psychologist would ever imagine doing this unless it was just some crazy, absurd experiment or something. So they finally arrive in the desert. They pitch some tents and they're meant to stay there for a while. Heck, I'd probably want to stay in the RV for that about 45 minutes into the movie, like nothing happens. You get that first kill in the beginning of the movie, which kind of pulls you in, and then nothing really happens. It's just them arguing all the time with each other.
So I'm a dick smoker, huh? That's great coming from a pussy bumper and a fucked up shrink. I ought to bash your stupid fucking head in.
And then we finally do get another kill. The womanizer sleeps with the sex fiend, of course. After him and the girl had their thing, he goes to lay in his tent and someone comes and cuts his throat. So that's another cutthroat, but this is 50 minutes into the movie. I feel like a lot of these kills should have been paced out evenly, sort of like a Friday the 13th movie. Those films are paced very well. When they find out the womanizer is dead, they go to the RV. They gotta get out of there, find help, whatever, but they realize that their water is all gone. Someone took all their water. In the desert, you gotta have water, almost all of their water anyway. And they disabled the RV so they can't drive it anywhere. So what are they gonna do? They end up splitting into groups, into pairs, and go seek out help. The drunk ends up getting stabbed in a cave. The girl who doesn't like being touched gets her throat cut. And eventually it all boils down to this big fiasco at the end of the movie where people start to be dispatched a lot more quickly. So when the psychologist is stumbling around trying to find out where all these people are going because they're all missing, she finds the cave, and once she's in there, she finds Dory, one of her patients from the group, torturing a woman on a table. And there's also another guy there which we've never seen before. He's slicing her stomach. The girl tied to the table is Cassie, the sex freak. But this is a pretty gruesome scene. It's like a weird torture scene. But the psychologist walks in right after Cassie gets her throat cut on the table. And here, this whole scheme is revealed because we're wondering, who is this weird guy in the cave with her? We don't know. The story ends up being that Dory is the little girl in the beginning of the movie. She kills her father and blames it on this other boy. This other boy is sent to a psychiatric hospital where he spends years there, and I think he's released or escapes. And he teams up with Dory again, and they hatch the scheme to kill the psychologist, and the other people in the group were just collateral damage. She says that they deserve to die because they were bad. I just feel like there's not enough motive for Dory to kill the other patients in the group. Why even do the group thing? Like, I don't understand. It pretty much ends on that note. The psychologist and the Vietnam vet, they end up in the RV, I think, and they can't really go anywhere. They're in the middle of the desert and they can't drive away. And that's where the movie ends, with the credits. So the plot is interesting. I just wish that the kills were more paced out evenly. But when they do happen, they're pretty gruesome and dirty and all those great things. A lot of throat cuts in the movie. It's not that bad. Now, watching the movie, it has a weird video feel. It's not shot on video. So the cover reads, filmed in 35mm Technicolor, but when you watch it, it has a video feel to it. And I've noticed this about other films. A lot of these movies were made direct for television or video, particularly a slasher movie like this, made for video. So what they do is they shoot it in film, they transfer the film to video, and then they edit it on video. And then they come up with the 1-inch master on video. What do they do with the film print? Unfortunately, a lot of these morons, they throw away the film print, or they just leave it at the lab like, we don't need that anymore, you know? It's just the most ludicrous thing. Anybody who knows anything about film should know that you kind of have to keep the negative. Like, why would you not hold on to that? I've worked with a handful of photographers before that shoot in actual film, and they all keep their negatives. Like, it's just so strange. Why would you not keep a negative of the movie? What if someone came to the director or the producer and said, hey, this film was a hit on video. We want to show it in theaters. What is he gonna do? He's not gonna have the film print anymore. Like, it's like these people don't think about it. This is so common. This was like a lot of movies that a few anyway, that I've been buying on Blu-ray have this issue. What is it, Shock 'em Dead? Where they just don't have a film print of that movie, or Deadly Prey, they don't have a film print, like they just left it in some storage unit somewhere in like some other country. Like, I don't understand. What is wrong with you people? Why don't you take care of your print? This is an asset. This is a valuable asset to you, and you're not, like, it's just so bizarre. Some people say that, well, they could not have ever predicted that Blu-ray would be a technology of the future, but it doesn't matter. I would always want the best quality version of my art, of my film. I guess some of these people don't see it that way. It's just a product to them. They're just like, just get it on the shelves and move on with our lives. It's such a sad thing to me, and I hate seeing it, because I would love to see a film like this on Blu-ray. I really would, but chances are there probably isn't a print. It's possible. There's been some stuff that did have film prints. Some smart people did keep the original film elements, but most of them haven't, unfortunately. So as you can see on the cover here, this was directed by Hal Freeman. He is a big producer of pornography. If you go on IMDb, it's mostly all porn. This is like one of the only non-porn ones that I found on his IMDb page.
Hi, Hal.
Hello, Jim Bob. What's going on?
Nice. Yeah. Oh, got a few.
I need a favor. Phone numbers.
Okay. What is this on your next film coming out?
I got into the adult business, peddling a complete line of rubber goods. Artificial vaginas, plastic penises, French ticklers.
Did you ever think
Then I started making my very first movie towards the end of '68. We have to make two people who don't know each other look like lovers. It's very hard to do. The female never enjoys the sex act. The male, how do you enjoy a sex act when you got to pull out and come all over a girl's body?
Now, the film was written by someone named Ted Newson, who has written a ton of stuff. He's directed a ton of like documentaries on actors and old Hollywood and these sort of things. He actually also wrote a bunch of like other B movies, but it seems like his thing was mostly documentaries. He actually directed Monsters and Maniacs, a documentary that was released by Donna Michelle. It's actually incredibly hard to find. The makeup effects artist of Blood Frenzy is actually the guy in the mask in Monsters and Maniacs. I thought that was interesting. The effects in here are decent, and the first effects guy did go on to do a bunch of Hollywood studio stuff, so he moved on, and it's funny to see a little obscure movie like this in his past. Now, the actors, you would think that because the producer did porn, he's also the director-producer, did all these porn titles, that he would just find some lame actresses that were just did porn, or he's part of that circuit, so you'd think he'd find some actresses from there. But no, a lot of these people ended up having careers, believe it or not. This isn't one of those slasher films where people just pick people off the street who would never ever appear in another movie again in their life. These people are actually in other movies. Some Hollywood stuff, a few of these people, so I just found that incredibly interesting. They actually wanted to make a legit movie, and they hired legit actors and a legit crew and a legit cinematography. All these people had flourishing careers. I thought that was interesting. All these people who had gone on to do all these great things have Blood Frenzy in common. I think that's great. So there it is, guys. Blood Frenzy. It will satisfy your yearning for slasher films. So yeah, this is typical 1987 slasher. It's got some great kills. It's worth checking out. It has great packaging. And if you could find it, go for it. We will probably see this on DVD or video someday. I'm just amazed by all of the stuff that's been popping up lately. I have my fingers crossed that it's going to be on Blu-ray, that they have a 35mm print somewhere. It would be amazing if they did. And I'm sure that a lot of these people would still want to talk about this movie. Maybe Hal, if he's still around, maybe he'll talk about one of the only non-X-rated movies he ever made. That'd be interesting. Or the writer who had a flourishing career. These people are still doing stuff. I would love to hear their reflections on this movie after so many years had passed, so many years of successes, and they could all just, like I said, look back and say, hey, that was a little obscure slash film that we put together, and maybe they're proud of it, who knows. This has been Paul with VHScollector.com, and I will see you guys next time.
It's so dark. Yes, it's dark in here. We can relax. Just sit right here. It's all right. It'll be okay. It will. It'll be okay, Cassie. I promise. No, please, I don't want to. Yes, you do. Just relax. never done that before. That was nice.
We'll go down there.
Down there? Why? It's dark down there. There might be... Dory, where are we going?
To show you what happens to bad girls.
No!